Okay, all right, thank you. Good morning, everyone. We'll call to order at 7:31 to just stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, for which it stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you, everybody. We have a new face today. This is Amy Pinero. Jen French has left to move on to greener pastures, wherever those pastures are. So Amy is at least in the spot for now. And Amy's been with the district for
8 years.
8 years. So tech savvy, which is good. So welcome.
Thank you.
Yep. And then when Rita comes in, Ms. Diaz, she was here last week. She's our new finance director for the city. Ms. Dorenas left and went to France. She was at the last meeting. So we're sending a letter to RIDE to officially let them know that she's a member of the committee. All right, so the first order of business would be approval of minutes from the June 3rd meeting. So moved by Ms. Glory, seconded by Mr. Holmes. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. I'm going to speak loudly because the AC's up, so they'll get hot in here fast. Old business, there is none. Project administration, bid document release authorizations, none. We have no bid reviews or awards and no recommended awards or proposals. So that gets us right into our favorite part, change order reports. First change order report is BR&A Consulting Engineers, Pilgrim and Tollgate, $68,000. Mr. Bates, this is you.
Yeah, can I just give a little context just really quickly before we dive into these? Is that a lot of this stuff that we're going to go through is about $250,000 worth of ads, but maybe it's good. $250,000 worth of ads in total, but these are things that have been under development, under review for like months, right? I think a couple of the PCOs that we're going to look at are connected to bulletins that were issued last year. So I just want to, we didn't go away for 4 weeks and then all of a sudden find $4 million that we need to add. So I think that's helpful content. So
Sorry, can I just shut her up so you can hear? You're a low talker, so.
do I have to repeat the?
No.
So you got the context behind what we're doing here, right? This is these months worth of review and developing this. Anyway, so BR+A, that's our commissioning agent. This is for window testing, right? The contract docs, they call for the owner to hire a testing agency to do sort of extreme weather simulation, air infiltration and water filtration. And it's on a sampling of the installed windows, not all, just a sampling. This is standard practice on every job that we've all done, right? This is what you do. The glazing units, they do come to the site already tested, right? They're manufacturer tested, but what we're trying to test here is the actual installation, right? The sealant around them, has anything been damaged over the course of the installation process, things like that. We want to make sure that, you know, we're going to spend a fraction of the overall contract amount for JK Glass, just to make sure that we don't end up spending hundreds of thousands in like damage down the line, right? So that's what we're doing here. So BR+A has our commissioning agent, but they have this service in-house, which is great, right? There's a little bit of efficiency there. At one point,
It's open meeting. Sorry.
Yeah, we have to leave one door open.
At one point, we thought we'd hire a testing agent to do this, but there's a bit of efficiency in having it done by the commissioning agent. So we can do it all in one sort of umbrella. It's about $5,500, a little less than that per visit to come out to site. They're going to do 2 tests per visit. It averages out to about $2,700 per test. It's these 2 guys, they build a setup, they build a chamber around the glazing unit, they simulate a high wind event, and then they do water testing where they basically blast these windows for several minutes with a jet stream of water. It's an all-day operation if you're talking about doing 2 tests a day. So that's the summary. I could go into more about the testing, but that's $68,000, and that's across both schools.
Okay, questions for?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're really just testing the walk around the installed window, but the windows are already tested.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money, $68,000 to
Yeah.
spend.
Yeah. It is a lot of money, yeah, but comparatively speaking, it's in line. So a project of this size, you might do somewhere between 10 to 20 different tests. We're gonna do 12, right? We don't want to get out of control. We don't want to spend that much money. And, 20 is too much. 12, I think, is a reasonable sample size. And it fits within our commissioning budget, so we're not tapping contingency for this. So that's a positive. Yeah, it's not cheap. It is a cost. Yeah.
You said it was in the specifications to test the windows. So it was a change order? Is that what this
It's
is?
an ad service. Ad
An ad
service, yeah.
service?
Either, at one point we thought maybe we'd have our testing agent do it, but again, it's just commissioning agent can do it in-house, so.
But it's already in the budget.
But it's on the owner to do this, not the contractor, right? And it's specified in the contract documents, the owner has to procure their own independent testing agency.
So we would have done this anyway.
Go ahead, yeah.
This is
Yeah,
something
it was called for, yeah.
we would have had to have done this anyway.
They're testing a mock-up, right? They're not actually testing the window.
They're testing actually specimens in place.
Right.
Yep, in place, yep,
Okay.
yep. Because we want to make sure the installation process is tight and done right. Catch it before water starts coming after move-in, because that's a disaster.
Do they do it right away once one of the first windows are installed? or-
Yeah.
Exactly, right.
Yeah, the mock-ups that we have are just visual mock-ups for these projects and not performance mock-ups.
Okay.
And then just to hit on Steve's point, this and everything that we're talking about change order wise is within the project budget.
Right, so we had, I'm just trying to wrap my head around it. We're calling it a change order, right? But we would have had to have done this anyway. Right? So I'm just trying to understand, why is it a change if we had to do this? It would have been in the budget somewhere, right?
Theoretically,
In
what we
some
could-
bucket somewhere, right?
Yeah, and it's accounted for in our commissioning agent budget line, right?
Okay.
Whether we wanted to do it with a testing agency, say FINA, they had the capability to do it, we could do it. Instead, we're gonna hire the commissioning agent to do it. Always anticipated having to do this. It's just a matter of, which company we wanted to engage to do it. So
Okay,
it's an
so,
ad service. It's something that it's not something that just came out of nowhere. It's something we'd always been wanting to do.
Right.
It became especially pertinent now because we actually have windows showing up on site at Tollgate next month. So let's get it done. Let's get them engaged and let's get them out there.
Did you
Yeah.
This one.
This one,
Yeah,
this July.
Did you
That's
get,
right.
did you get pricing from the testing agency compared to the commissioning?
No, we didn't do that. No, we didn't do that. No. We could do it, but it would put us back schedule wise. And
but you said is this typically in line with what these tests cost?
Yeah.
Tests cost.
yeah, it's not cheap. It's not cheap, but it is, again, it's a full day out there. There's a lot of setup. Could do 2-3 hours of setup per test.
I think it's excessive. I'm gonna vote against it. The windows are tested, the windows are done. The installation is, the subcontractor is responsible for it, so.
Yeah, and if the
too
test
much.
fails, then you're right, they are. They have to handle the remediation at no cost to the owner.
So to what Armin just, to what you just said, if you said if the test fails, that presupposes you have to do the test. Right? So we have to do the test, right? Or are you saying the windows are already tested, install them as they show up?
Well, we're following the contract documents. We're not just,
But we can change those, I mean.
We're being told,
The windows are tested
Right.
at the factory.
Right.
They have a test. This is the installation they're talking about.
Right.
Maybe it's the perimeter of the window, not the window itself.
Right.
Right, and as a function of testing that perimeter, you're naturally gonna end up testing the window
You test
assembly
everything
itself,
at
so,
once,
it's,
but they come with a,
Yeah.
But we have,
they're pre-tested.
we have to test the windows. We have to do this. I apologize if I'm not grasping it, but we have to do this, right?
never done a project like this where we didn't test windows. It seems like an abrupt change by nature of it being presented now. And I admit that I understand that, but we're always gonna do this. So, now we have the right person to do it at what we think is a reasonable cost.
It's an insurance policy, basically. I mean, it kind of verifies the assembly of the unit. You put it under pressure, you put, high pressure water on it, you see how it performs. It's very standard. It's done on any building of any size. And invariably, at this stage, you may find a little construction detail that's not quite right, whether it's a piece of caulking or just how something goes together. And it's far better to find this out in a mock-up situation before you go and install 400 windows. You have to go back and you have a problem. It's just really belts and suspenders. I've never been on any project of any size that did not do this.
Is it worth, touching base with BES to see if they do testing?
That's who's doing it, BES.
Oh, they're doing it for,
Yeah, they're under BR plus.
they're under them?
Sub-control.
Third party testing in essence.
Yeah, it's not done by the contractor, it's third party.
So the issue isn't the testing or whether or not to do the testing. The issue is the cost.
Well, it's called for, but we can delete it. You can just.
Right, because the windows are covered under the manufacturer, right? And then the installation's covered under the contractor.
Correct.
Right, but I think that the other side of that argument is that, okay, so if you don't do this, then you do it, you install the windows, and then if they fail, then now you've got a partially finished building with failed windows, right?
That the city wouldn't, well, the school department wouldn't own covering the cost of.
Yeah, no, I know that from the cost side, I know that, it's just, once they're in and you have some fail, now you've got to
Try to
fix it, right?
the problem.
So then I don't know what that translates into time. We're not on the hook for any of it. I get that. I get
There's
that.
also the reality, the optics of you just finished a school and we already have windows failing and how that plays out in the public.
Yeah.
We know how that would play out in the public.
So how about we propose we reduce the number of samples to bring the number down, right? We thought 12 is reasonable, but it's at our discretion, right? So we want to do 8.
Is that at both schools?
Yeah.
Total?
Yep.
So you do 4 and 4 or 6 and 6 or,
Yeah, 6 and 6.
so you could reduce it.
Yeah, because it can get, can be a bit much. So, I think we do have the ability to select what we want to do in terms of the number of samples. So let's be a little less aggressive and let's bring that number down. So, what are we saying? So,
You said 12, right, for this?
yeah, 12 total.
12 total. So if you knocked it down, 12 total is 68, so 4, 20, whatever that math is. Right, so if you want to cut it down to 8, right, you're gonna drop it by a third. Right? So,
That was 12 total. So 6 in the schools and 2.
We're already at 6 and 6.
yeah, so you'd go 4 and
Okay,
4.
so let me just pull it out. So that's just to make it
I look at it as insurance,
So,
right? And then to your point, I absolutely get your point.
six locations, for the hand nozzle test, that's the water test, and then 6 locations, this is per school. 6 locations for the chamber test, that's the air infiltration test. So that's
Just cut it,
12,
why don't we just cut it in half?
cut it in half.
Yeah, I would.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
So if we do this and then the windows are installed and then they fail, who's on the hook then?
The subcontractor.
The subcontractor? Okay.
It's the same people,
That,
right?
that would be for us to deal with the subcontractor as far as any.
I'm not saying that's gonna happen. I just wanna know what the fail
He's always
safe
on the
is.
hook whether you test or not.
Understood, but if we don't test, then we don't know if there's an issue. And this is a very typical part of a commercial building, checks and balances, third-party testing process. I've never done a building that we haven't had a third party do window testing.
Yeah, when I look at it from Mr. King's point, if you have something that fails, then, and, okay, did you test them before? If something fails and you tested it beforehand, it's a different connotation than if you have something fail and you didn't bother to, you chose not to test beforehand. Okay, that's a whole different kettle of fish, I think, right? So, I mean, I support testing. I think the question now is really the number, right? So, you guys comfortable with 6 to cut it in half?
3 and 3.
3 and 3?
It's gonna fail.
Which cuts it down to
It's gonna fail, it's gonna fail.
Yeah, so, all right, so what we'd be looking for,
Right now, the proposal.
I gotta put the AC back on. Okay.
You
So
wanna
we
do
look-
3, Dave? I'll make a motion that we revise the window testing to 3 per school for cost of $34,000.
Yeah, I would, he's moved that. Is there a second to that?
Second.
There's a second by Ms. Calori. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries as amended. Okay. All right, next, Pilgrim PCO 950-180, a credit for $11,213.
Yeah.
Mr. Bates.
Okay, this is a credit that's tied to a bulletin that was issued back in January. And bulletin 11, it has a whole bunch of different scope components to it: grab bars, sprinkler revisions, generator revisions, fire pump feeder revisions, bunch of electrical coordination adjustments. The big cost driver was a credit for Rossi Electric for over $13,000. I think the big driver of that was the reduction of copper conductors, 600 linear feet of copper conductors that was credited back. So again, the main driver of the credit.
All right, so we're looking for a motion to approve Pilgrim PCO 950-180 and $11,213 credit. Moved by Mr. Holmes, seconded by Ms. Diaz. 11,000.
Let me know.
Oh, the PCO number? 950-180.
There's a document here, 950-180, minus 2782.
Yeah, it's the same document that I have. Yeah, the grand total is 11,213.
Okay.
Credit, of a credit. All right, so it's moved by Mr. Holmes, seconded by Ms. Diaz. Any questions? And hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Mr. Chair, what,
Yeah.
for the record, what is the code of, council official members here, please?
Oh, we have everybody but Mr. DeCourt. So we have, hold on, I always get this right. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We have 8 here. 8 of the 9 here, yes. So 8-0. I'll try to say that at the vote, that's what it is. All right, next, item C, Pilgrim PCO 950-210, the $34,610.
This was tabled last month. Remember the detention sand filter discussion that we had last month? So this was tied to the design bullet 14 that was issued back in February. This I would categorize as design evolution prompted by the manufacturer and geotechnical engineer's input. We had the engineer of record, our engineering, issue a memorandum. I can summarize it with a few bullets, but then I'd probably invite the team to chime in here. But the underground chamber manufacturer questioned whether the groundwater could create buoyancy beneath that chamber. Geotech engineer said that the stone base should be thicker than was originally designed. The design team increased the size of the perimeter subdrains, like we talked about last month. And the outlet control structure had to be revised because the underground system became deep. So turn it over to the experts here.
But I think in a nutshell, from my memory, is we went into the project with a couple borings in that location, maybe even one. So the design was based on somewhat limited information on underground conditions, which is not unusual. You know, you don't want to, there's a cost involved with every boring you take. So we try to limit that also. When the manufacturer came on board after the bid, they required much more information. So test pits were dug, and we really dug the area up. And I think with that, the geotech understood the subsurface a little better. And with that, they had to redesign it. I don't recall all the details, but I think additional stone was required per the manufacturer. I don't know, Mark.
Yeah, the OCS structure that was already released had to be changed, and its location within the filtration system was moved forward, so that made the excavation larger. I think, Mr. McCaffrey asked questions about the labor last time, so there was additional labor. It was, approximately 73 linear feet of HDPE pipe that needed to be added, and 80 cubic yards of additional excavation beyond what was originally shown. So that was what resulted in the $1,178 of added labor. The other parts of it were just really material costs for the increase in the pipe size. We have vetted this multiple times through the SOM team, who then vets it through PAR, left field, everyone, multiple times, and, again, we feel like it's a reasonable request at this point in time.
Questions for left field or Sam or Dimeo? Anyone? All right, hearing none. I'm looking for a motion to approve PCO, Pilgrim PCO 950210 for $34,610. So moved. Moved by Mr. Lucy. Second? Seconded by Ms. Diaz. Any further question for anyone on this? All right, hearing none. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 8-0. Okay. Next, Tollgate PCO 950040, which is a credit for $12,845. Mr. Bates.
This was tied to design bulletin number 10 that was issued in November of 2025. This has gone now through 4 different revisions, a lot of back and forth. It encompasses a bunch of different scopes, electrical, added circuits, panel changes, control module changes, breaker changes. There was a structural steel change to a brace frame, Century drywall had to be sent in $3,800 for some added drywall partitions. The big credit drives the net, positive result is a change from plastic lockers to metal lockers. So again, the net result is a $12,845 credit.
Any questions for left field or anyone on that? All right, hearing none, look for a motion to approve Tollgate PCO 950040 credit. Moved by Mr. McCaffrey.
Second.
Second by Mr. Lucy and Ms. Diaz. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, next, Tollgate PCO 950060, $46,214.
This is the second revision of PCO that was result of bulletin number 12 that was issued back in January. And we categorize this as a design refinement. It consists mostly of electrical technology revisions, and there was a credit for Superior Rail, but the big cost driver is Rossi. Electrical feeder, breaker revisions, tech device revisions, wiring changes, breaker sizes, a whole bunch of different items put in that bulletin.
Questions for Mr. Bates or Dimeo? All right, I'm looking for a motion to approve Tollgate PCO 950060. Moved by Ms. Glory, seconded by Ms. Diaz. Any further questions? Okay, here.
What's the backup detail on this? Like what? Have anything to Rossi?
Oh, yeah, we don't have any. There's no detail. Like some of them have like 80 pages of detail. We don't have any detail on this one.
Change order itself.
Oh, we have all the backup.
Yeah,
Just get over to the meeting folder, we can provide it, but every PCO that.
Yeah, no, you always have that. Yes. So can you just make sure we just send that in? to us So we can,
So we have it documented.
yeah, so it's documented.
Yeah.
Okay.
Otherwise, we could review it.
This has been reviewed by left field and
Yeah. Everything that gets on the agenda, I mean, this has been under review since January. So,
Yeah, left field's supposed to, G&B's reviewed the electrical portion of it.
All right, so it's been moved and seconded. I'm just gonna, no other questions for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 8-0. Okay, next, Tollgate PCO 950241 for $7,208. Mr. Bates.
okay, tied to bulletin number 20 that was issued in April. This is utility coordination and enhancing. So we're getting a new transformer on site, CTC building for zero charge from Rhode Island Energy. But we are providing a new secondary feeder to the new electrical room in the main building. We're going to remove the old secondary feeder. So it's essentially, instead of tying this transformer back into the CTC, we're going to we're gonna run it into the new building. It's gonna be a more efficient design, so that's our portion of the cost. So the new transformer was leaking. They're gonna replace it, zero charge. We're gonna do a little extra work, make for a better overall electrical design. Did I capture that somehow?
It does. I just want to be clear. So this bulletin 20 costs is split into two pieces. This is a preliminary piece, just the new disconnect switch. The majority of the cost for the new feeders and the connection to the service to that transformer is under review right now. It will be submitted at a forthcoming building committee meeting. But this is just for that release of the disconnect switch. So this is just a piece of it.
Okay. So, any questions for anyone on that one?
So it wasn't designed this way, just adding it now. Is it necessary?
So I'm
Sorry. I mean, yes, the existing transformer is leaking.
You're getting a new
It
transformer.
needs to be replaced. So we're getting
You
a
get
new
one from
transformer
RI
at no
Energy.
cost, but we have to feed it to the project funds.
Wait, what? You already have one, right? It's leaking, they're replacing the one that's there. What other work needs to be done? Put that in that wasn't already paid for or in contract.
The new one is going in a different location than the existing one. And there was, at the time of contract, there was no feed to that new transformer.
Well, for feed with existing.
Right, I guess the short answer is that transformer was not called to be replaced in the contract documents. That's something that's come up since.
You almost call it field.
Yeah, we were told to exclude it because the school department knew it was leaking and they were already dealing with reliable energy to replace it. So they said they would handle the replacement of the transformer, so we didn't have to show it. But I guess the difference now is that it's getting fed from the main building as opposed to the CPC building, right? That's the difference in the cost.
Well, yeah, it's getting fed from a different location. It's
Different
not,
location.
they're not picking up the existing transformer, dropping the new one and re-hooking it up with all the existing feeds. It needs to go on a new location that's better for the project.
Yeah, but that's not in this number. This is just the disconnect.
Correct.
So do you have any idea what that other than it's gonna be?
It's going to be a six-figure number.
Well, maybe
but
we
we're still
shouldn't
betting
approve
that
this
right now.
until we know what that is. Maybe we don't approve.
But you need to approve this to get the lead time.
Right.
So there's
Yeah,
a lead time for the components needed to make that functional. So that's why we're asking for this up front to be able to get this released early. While we're
I'm
ready.
sure it can wait a month, Jimmy.
No, it's already been released.
Well,
We were-
you can't,
we
why
were-
are you releasing stuff that's not paid for, James?
We were given bulletin 20 and told the price to proceed, and we moved forward with that release collectively at the time that this PCO generated, so.
That is the process that we have been operating under and honestly.
Was agreed to.
That was agreed to, and if we're gonna change that process, there needs to be a conversation about the impact, of changing that process, right? There will be costs and time associated, if we're going to change the process from proceed and price to price, wait for approval, proceed. This is a good illustration of that. Once the process, which comes at a cost, which is what we, as a collective group, wanted to avoid. And there's been certain exceptions to that where we know, for instance, at Dover, we had some major changes to the locker room. Where we were directed by this group to price it because we want to understand the impact before we approve it. We had enough time to do that, to take that extra step. We priced it. Group didn't like the price. They said, forget it, go back to the original documents, which we did. We had enough time in the process to do that. A lot of these changes don't allow for that much time to elapse. This is already, I don't know, Jason can speak better, but I'm sure this is already going through a vetting process of a couple of months at least, I'm guessing.
Yeah, this is gone through the process, reviewed by, again, Leftfield, Symposio, GFB. Everybody agreed to the cost of the disconnect. Everybody agrees that bulletin 20 was issued because that's what needs to be done to feed the building from the location of the new transformer. We're in the final throes of coordinating that installation date of the new transformer with Rhode Island Energy. Actually just sending some emails about this morning, coordinating that for an upcoming Saturday. So this is all well into the works. Bulletin 20 was issued probably 2 months ago, but we've been working through all of that, scope over the last couple of months. So
I have a question, Jake. Rhode Island Energy didn't want to put the transformer where it was before.
no, because the area, due to the existing one leaking, the area is contaminated. They can't just put the new one in that location.
So now
So
it's away from that, closer to the main building. That's why they want to connect it to the main building instead.
Right.
So this is partly driven by Rhode Island Energy. Well, no.
Probably driven by the leaking transformer.
Well, yeah,
Well,
the leaking transformer,
This,
which,
if it didn't come out, in my opinion, if it didn't come out of the construction budget, probably would have been coming out of a repair budget. If you weren't doing these projects, you were probably gonna be faced with changes and this, yes, this transformer was dangerous, it was leaking. Yep, so it's gonna have to be replaced.
yeah, no, I understand that. And what Steve just said was Rhode Island Energy didn't want to just put it in the same place that they had the leaking, right? So that means it's got to go in a different place. So it has to go in a different place. Doesn't that start another discussion of where does it go and everything else? So is that what led? I have to believe that that's what led to this, right? To the bulletin number 20, right?
Yeah.
So, right? So, okay, so I don't think this is a situation where you guys just decided on your own that this is what you were gonna do. I mean, it was in response to other things, right? It was in response to the leaking transformer and an unwillingness of Rhode Island Energy to install that same transformer in the same spot.
Is there proof from Rhode Island Energy that they say that? They could give you a letter or something, say they don't want it in that spot.
So who was being approved?
No.
When you give them a drawing, they typically have their own engineer draw something up. Right? So that would be in essence proof saying where they want it. If not,
I got a question.
Engineer Bolton derived from Rhode Island Energy's valuation of the transformer.
Check with GE.
I mean, I have a question. Yeah, if
You just said this is where it's going, so we should put it there. Right. Can it stay here or does it have to go there? It's directed by Rhode Island Energy.
Right, so
This
that's
is where
probably,
it's going.
that's probably what we're looking for is
Yeah.
direction from Rhode Island Energy is what would resolve Dean's question.
So why don't we go do some homework on that and we'll come back. Should be next month with the full cost of the feed to the new transformer location. But for right now, but for right now, this is just for the new disconnect switch, which is needed regardless whether the
so
transformer.
this stuff is needed regardless of
Whether
wherever
the
the
transformer
transformer
goes
goes.
in the same spot or whether it goes to the new location.
Yes, so this is just ordering the nuts and the bolts. Yep. Okay, all right. Question, any other questions? Any other questions? Okay. Looking for a motion. Moved by Mr. Holmes.
Second.
All right, any other discussion? All in favor? Aye, opposed? Motion carries 8-0. Okay, next, Tollgate PCO 950290 for $31,574. Mr. Bates.
So this was an owner request. There's been an ongoing groundwater infiltration issue at the CTC building on the lower level. So to try to remedy this for a longer term solution, it was asked to provide a sump pump, the elevator kit. And so this is the cost, driven largely by Manafort, right? $11,306, sock cutting activation, sump basin install, snow backfill, some cost for Delta Mechanical to provide the pump, $5,000. Provide welding has a little bit of money in there, and then Rossi has $6,600 to provide the electrical component for the sump pump install.
Questions for Mr. Bates?
so is this like a full total price? Is there gonna be design costs associated with this or anything else like that? Or is this a full for that whole sub pump issue?
No design issues to my knowledge. Steve, correct me if I'm wrong.
No, it's an elevator, it's an old elevator. They have a new elevator in the building, so this is a pump for the old elevator. That didn't have one originally.
So what, other than putting a sump up in the elevated shaft, what's the major work happening there?
I'm sorry, who's question?
Other than putting a sump pump and electrical source tie-in, what's the major work there that they're talking about?
Well, it sounds like they have to, because there's no sump in the pit, they have to go down and saw cut a hole in the pit and reform it, put concrete in there, and then set the pump in there.
But this
And then-
pit sits down lower than the
The pit is 4 feet lower than the lower
grade.
floor,
They even need to do that.
so at the bottom of the pit, they have to cut in a sump.
I'm just wondering, curious, they even have to do that if it's 4 feet below the grade.
That's where the water's coming up from. The water's coming up from under the ground.
Again, but if they put something down 3 feet, the water comes up a foot, it's gonna stay ahead of it. You know, is it necessary to cut a pit? I mean,
I think the water comes all the way up to the floor level, doesn't it?
well, it didn't, except for 2 exceptions when I was there for a 12-year period. One was that significant rain.
Yep.
Before it all had the issue.
Yeah, it doesn't happen all the time, but I guess it happened recently.
And the other issue happened when there was a conduit coming in from and bringing a conduit line coming into the fire alarm panel where there was it had a metal crack or something. I think at one point you redid the sidewalks about 5 years ago. I think Steve, I think that was a job you oversaw and it was fixed at that point. There was a conduit line that was slab had.
Yeah, and I remember there was a crack conduit, but I thought it was a rain event that triggered it this time.
Only after all the blasting. Only after all the blasting that occurred. Prior to that, I'm aware of 2 occasions since the major flooding, back in 2009 or 10, was it?
But I did have, when I was director of facilities and operations, I did have toll gate, Windman and CTC's elevators, home sealed from inside the elevator shaft and they failed. Yeah,
It never came up to grade level.
yeah, it did.
And when I was there,
No, I'm not saying it didn't do when you were there, but it has done it.
but I mean, I don't know that you have to really shortcut and put a pit there when you have a 4-foot drop anyway.
So you're saying to use
You could just set a pump right
use
into
the elevator
Right,
pit
put a
as
pump
your
in the
sump.
pit.
Put a pump in the pit,
Right now, we have 2 pumps in the pit right now and it wasn't keeping up.
but we didn't have them until recently, right?
Right,
What size pumps are they? How many?
It has to be recessed so the car's not gonna go all the way down.
Create the relief. at the bottom.
You can't put a pump in the pit because the car has to go all the way down the bottom of the pit. That's why they recessed them to the ground.
Yeah,
You
but
have a natural pit right there, it's 4 feet.
Yeah, but the elevator car goes down into that 4-foot pit.
We're not using it. That's elevated shaft, that's off, right?
We were gonna seal that off.
That's sealed off,
We were gonna seal the door off, so,
that's not a functioning elevator.
Right.
but we had talked the other day about sealing that off as part of the project.
I'm only throwing it out there. If it's not a functioning elevator, why do we have to cut another pit?
James, what's that pump going behind in the old mechanical room for the elevator? It was gonna be put in that closet.
well, it's gonna go in the pit itself, but by code, you have to create a sump within the pit for the sump pump to sit. You can't use the elevator shaft itself as the sump.
It's not a functioning elevator anymore. It's the whole thing.
And I don't know if there's a nuance if it's not functioning, but
Because we installed a new ADA compliant elevator a couple of years ago. I think Steve designed it.
Yeah, if you're saying code requires that,
We have to check and see.
yeah, but you can double check. I'd be surprised if
It's
we
not a
code.
decommissioned elevator.
yeah.
But you have to do something so when the elevator ever dropped, it didn't knock out the pump. Right, you'd have to brace the elevator.
And what, if the 2 pumps that are there now are keeping up, what size pump you putting in there?
I have to look at the specs of the actual pump.
But, so James, you're saying that code requires you to submerge the pump below the grate, the slab,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, you have
So
to
you have to
create
do
that.
that. Bill's saying, well, it's an abandoned elevator shaft, right? So the question is, would the code say, all right, fine, the hell with it, it's an abandoned elevator shaft, or would the code still apply? That's the question.
It's not an efficient elevator.
So,
They don't dictate,
it's all right.
they wouldn't force you to put a pump in an elevator that's abandoned.
Okay, so
we don't need this.
if you,
It's being put in just to prevent water from coming up.
right, but if it's an abandoned elevator shaft, you don't really care in one sense, right? And correct me if I'm wrong, you don't care if the water comes up because there's no elevator for it to impact, right? So if the pump is sitting on the floor, right, you're gonna have more water fill that shaft before the pump comes on than you otherwise would have, right?
Right.
I think.
Yes.
And they'd have to leave the car up high enough
To access it.
to,
To
you know
change
what I
up
mean?
pumps.
Because if the
So
pump is,
The elevator is still there. The elevator itself is still there. It's just.
yeah, the car is still there.
Yeah, the car's there.
The car won't be able to go all the way down because the pump's gonna be upstairs.
Pumps at the 4 foot elevation, so the car won't come all the way down,
If it's
won't go all the way down to take the water off.
not functional.
So what do you,
You keep it up on the second
You think
floor.
You could always abandon the car 2 feet above the bottom and put the pump in.
You still want to have access to the pumps if you ever had a pump failure, you'd want to have access, or you'd want to keep that car up as high as
Car
possible.
up as high as
You're
possible.
gonna have to lift the car anyway to access it, no matter what. They kind of just
Right.
throwing it out there, no matter what, it's gonna be, you get into that shaft, you're gonna have to elevate the car.
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
It seems like a lot of work for something that we really don't do.
If the car did drop though at a point, it would potentially crush the pump.
But there's 2 in there now.
That's what, yeah, it's,
Right, they're not big pumps.
They're skimmer pumps,
Just like-
I think you have skimmer pumps.
Yeah, they're skimmer pumps, they're not,
Like Home
They're not-
Depot hook it up to a
It's not
car.
a 5
right, they're hooked up to 1.5 inch hose now just to get the water out of the shaft. It was coming out of the shaft into the wall.
okay, so if we don't do this, if you just lay the pump on the grade. What I'm hearing is, you wanna make sure there's enough room if you have to access the pump, so the car may have to be higher up than it would normally be.
So what you need to understand is the car has been decommissioned in the sense of they've taken all the mechanicals and out.
So you
that
can't raise the
operates
car.
The car, because the car and the elevator was not meeting code.
Right.
So the elevator company, we had them come in and decommission the elevator.
Okay.
But, and cap all the hydraulic systems. Yeah. So you can't even move the car.
So you can't move it, okay.
I can't-
the car now? What
It's on the bottom floor. It would always capture to the bottom floor.
Okay. So how are you gonna get to the pit then?
Right now, we've opened up the ceiling.
Yeah.
And cut a hole in the floor to put a pump in. Of the car. Of the car, that's dead.
And we don't care where the car sits, if we have a hole in it.
Right.
We put the pump in the bottom with the car, leave the car where it's at.
Right, but I get what you're saying, but with the skimmer pumps that we currently have there, we have them coming out, a hose coming out of the car, down the hallway into a floor drain. So at some point, we're gonna have to figure out a more permanent configuration, so we can make sure that we're handling the water that comes into the elevation.
Oh, we're renovating the CTC, we don't wanna have,
That was
Running down.
what we were doing, was trying to correct the problem that's there during the renovation.
yeah, the situation that you have now, that's at any point in a storm, all right? So we gotta put 2 pumps in there, you run guard posts into a floor drain. But if we're gonna spend however many millions of dollars on this building, to remodel it, we're not gonna have you can't have a hose running through a car into a floor drain.
Right, it was a major,
We can't do that.
this school year, the beginning of school year, to have that
We
hole.
can't- So this,
Can we do all the work and just not cut a hole in the pit, just let the pump sit in the bottom of the pit, but still do the other work, the water, the drain line, the electrical?
That's something that would have to be done.
Still gonna have to do a PVC break line anyway, right?
That's what I'm saying, do the drain line, do the electrical, but don't cut a hole in the floor, recess the pump, just sit the pump on the floor. I think that's what I'm hearing.
That's what he said, right, originally.
Yeah.
And
When we originally talked about this, it was more, we were trying to make a more permanent solution to handle the problem that was at the building.
well, I would think that even if we rest the pump on the floor, there's still gonna be a cost associated, and you want that pump to drain out of the building, right? Not through the building into a floor drain. With something that's visible. I just, it makes no sense to me. Right, so if we're gonna put a pump on the floor, it's gotta pump out of the building. So maybe this isn't the change order, but the other work to make sure that new pump pumps out of the building.
It's
Am I-
included in there.
So it's in here.
Which is all
Drainage is
that.
already in here. The drain
All right,
and the
so,
electrical.
so this, so what we'll be taking out of this is the cutting of a.
So you'd eliminate the sub hole, the sump
The whole,
hole,
eliminate that would save some money.
and add the,
You can
add
still
the,
gotta do the electrical and the plumbing.
So let's do the plumbing and electrical.
Yeah, but that, I mean, yeah, obviously, that makes sense. So the component of this change order that wouldn't have to happen,
That's all.
the part of this that wouldn't have to happen would be the digging of,
See it, not 10 grand.
yeah,
Manifold.
that's the
That'd be the
manifold.
first number, the 11,000 change.
Yeah, right. Okay,
Yeah, just, right now, the way that we have the scope written up is we're collecting that groundwater down lower in a sump and expelling it from the building before it has the opportunity to get into the main pit, which from a building perspective is really the approach that we would want to take and would feel comfortable with, and it's the right detail on how to build it.
and I'm sure if it was an operating elevator, that's
Oh, then
much
we-
more,
then we would
work,
have no
right?
choice.
Then you'd have no choice, right?
Right.
So this is a non-functioning elevator, so I guess we would have a choice. And if a pump failed, whether it was recessed in the ground or on grade, water's coming in anyway, right? Unless there's a monitoring system.
Yeah, there's an alarm on it.
Alarm on it, so, okay, so. Yeah, I'm open to whatever I think what I'm hearing from Mr. McCaffrey and from Armin and Dean is that, well, why do we need to dig a hole to submerge the pump below grade, right? We can just put it on the ground. And then all the other pieces of this would still have to be done, the electrical work, the drainage work, et cetera, right? So if we want to move this, do we want to move this now? Does it have to be now? Can we come back with a revised version in August? Reflective of,
We're trying to be done with the plan is to do this work over the next couple of weeks.
okay, so we could approve this, we could amend this,
Yeah.
right?
Amended to take out the manifold.
Amend it to take out the manifold portion.
And you would also not need the Rhode Island welding, that's for the grate for the pit as well.
Yeah, so we would amend it in such a way to, so what's that? So, line number 5 and line number 1.
I'm gonna ask James this question, if we're gonna have to cut a hole in the elevator floor, that's gonna be, associate some demo to the cost. Correct?
Yeah.
Right, so there would be more costs associated with
Yeah,
the project,
right,
with this
nothing happens to
project, because of the demo that it's necessary.
They don't get the demo to the floor anyway, don't they?
What's that?
Elevator, well, don't get the demo to that anyway to access it.
They were gonna put the sump pump inside the elevator shaft, it was gonna be behind in the old mechanical where the equipment was that ran the old elevator. It was gonna be in the room behind it. So that's why the need for the whole dog is where the location of where the pump is going to.
Was that room's on the same level as the bottom of the shaft?
No, it's on the same level as the ground floor. The old mechanical room for the elevator, yeah. That's where we were gonna put the sump pump, in that old mechanical room. The equipment was gonna be removed and the sump pump was gonna be put in that closet. The old mechanical closet for the elevator.
That's slab on grade.
Slab on grade.
Bottom of pit.
It's down the bottom of the pit, slab on grade. That was the need for the sump pump.
So is
You know
that
what I'm saying? So we were taking a space that was not being used anymore and putting the proper equipment, alarm system, the whole 9 yards for it. So if the pump failed, that's why we went down the avenue. The elevator was already decommissioned. That space was available to put the sump pump in. And then that was our thought to make sure that it was a proper sump pump system that when it was put in. That's the path we went down.
Does that change it? Does that change anyone's mind? I guess this is.
Think about, like, if we set the code, well, the code is now no longer even an issue, right, regardless, but constructability wise, what James said, I felt was compelling, is that the recess detail is the right detail for longevity purposes, right? The right way to capture the water before it gets to the building. For my mind, I'd rather just address it the right way now while we're in there, as opposed to trying to save $11,000 or whatever it is. I don't know, that's fine.
James, how far down is that pit, that new pit?
It's 30 by 30 by 30 pit.
It's 30 inches? Yeah. So it's less than 4 feet of the entrance, the elevator shaft, right? So when it's
Higher
still gonna
elevation.
come into that elevator shaft, it's 4 feet. Or it hits the 30 inches. It's about 18 inches difference there. Right? So even if you set a pump in there, it's gonna be sitting lower than 30 inches that you have in that new pit.
Right, you're right. I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm not disagreeing with that.
So you actually get the pump water before you hits the 30 inches.
So it sounds like it should be 48 feet.
But I think we have a pit right there already ready to go, right? Just a that, well, I don't know. Those are my thoughts, that's it.
The shaft is gonna get wet, even if there's a sump pump in the machine room behind it, it's only 30 inches. We know it gets wet. So it's gonna happen. It was coming through the walls, they had to put hydraulic cement. to Stop it from coming
Right,
through the
and-
walls.
So you also gotta think about what we're doing in that building, like in the sense of all the new epoxy paint, epoxy flooring that we put inside the bathrooms, you know, and we're trying to protect what
Oh,
our
no,
investment.
I agree. I'm just wondering, like, why do you put a 30-inch pump behind an elevator that's 4 feet when we know the elevator gets wet? Isn't the elevator still gonna get wet? Is it gonna be water infiltration issues still?
You gotta remove the water before it hits the 30 inches.
It's gonna be either
If it hits 30 inches, what's the pump set at? 24?
Well, we,
Close to the bottom.
we can remove manifold, remove Rhode Island welding for the grade. Move and amend the change. And then if there's any additional cost to cut a hole in the floor up to put the pump back in, we addressed it at that time.
Well, yeah, because the
Right.
work created by any change we make is gonna come back to us anyway, right? So, you know, whether that's less than the 11 and 12, $13,000, that we're cutting out now.
So Divya buys the pump, conduit, puts it on the floor slab in the electrical room.
Pit, no, the pit.
Yeah, we're back to the elevator.
Yeah, we go back.
Using the elevator pit as, so it's something out there.
Yeah.
Then it's just a question of electrical, piping it, so the water exits the building, right? So it'll have to be, you guys know the building better than I do, so if the pump goes in the pit, then that pump's gonna pump the water somewhere, so
There's going to be electrical and plumbing associated, if that's the way it's happening.
No matter what.
Right.
Yes.
Say that again?
No matter what, there'll be electrical right associated.
Right, there has to be electrical and plumbing associated with it, you know. Just in my opinion, I think that, you know, do things right once and that's where we're not coming back to it later on because it's an issue. You know, I just think that, our investment is important. You know, I'm not gonna die on this hill, but, you know, I think
Does
it's.
it have to be deeper though, to do it right? Deeper if the elevator is 4 feet and we're going 30 inches,
Right.
don't we have to rethink the 30 inches?
We
If we're gonna do it there,
We could rethink the 30, go deeper with a different configuration. We absolutely could go deeper.
we could have a foot of water in the pit conceivably.
You can go 30 by 30 by 48 feet.
The other issue is the new pit, what are you gonna hit when you get down?
I'm sorry.
Once you get below grade, what are you gonna hit? You gonna hit ledge over there?
It's a good question.
You could, we hit a lot of ledge when we put the elevator in, the new elevator.
Yeah.
We hit a lot of ledge down
But
there.
you could, and that's an added cost.
Yeah, we won't know until we go out there.
So it opens up.
Right.
Ports, there's a lot of unforeseens.
where if I understand you correctly, and I don't wanna spend a lot more time on this, so we'll spend as much as we have to, so there's an advantage from a dimensional point of view to put it in the old pit, right? Because that's the lowest point, right? Because putting it where originally it's 18 inches or so, 12 inches, so you got, like, to Tim's point, you're gonna have a foot of water in there, standing water, before your pump kicks on to start the draining. And it'll only pump out to that level, right? We'll still always have 12 inches of water, right? Till it, right? So,
Naturally.
I mean, and that's a whole other issue. With the pump at the lowest point. So if we put the pump at the lowest point, again, it would just require us, as we said before, we we amend this to remove the Manafort Rhode Island welding components, right? So this buys the other stuff and services to do that. And then you have to come back to us because there'll be extra work involved anyway, right? Because of where we're gonna put it. There'll be labor and all that other stuff. Just hope it doesn't exceed the difference. Yeah, yeah, and to get yourself access below the car, right?
Dave, can we just wait, get a price on the whole thing, because if we put the pump in the pit, that's gonna possibly incur other costs with the cab or the car or the floor of the existing elevator. But you were saying something about 2 weeks, James.
Yeah, we're looking to put this work in place this month while we're in that space. Essentially, to be out of there by August 1.
So, but we could do the work in the pit. Just trying to think. What else is gonna be involved by moving the pump as designed in the 30-inch deep in the mechanical
So,
room?
so James, can we just take a step back? I know that we're asking to get this work done now. This is something that probably could be done after, like, when we come back in operation, maybe we could research this a little more, look at it, after those who want to put eyes on it, that's fine. Just to make sure that we're doing our due diligence for this piece here.
Yeah, that's fine.
You know what I mean? I just like to have everybody to step back and maybe we'll still have time to come back to and take care of it.
Okay, so we want to table this then?
I would suggest, yes.
No,
Step,
no, okay, no objection to tabling?
You have the authority to give emergency approval if necessary.
Yes, yeah, we can do emergency.
Talk about it as a-
If it becomes an issue,
Yeah, do that
we
too.
have to react quickly, then we'll
Subcommittee,
do
or you can
that.
just want emergency approval if it,
We
if
could
it's.
come up with something and
Which
come back
we've
to
done
you.
before.
Get the price for what things are.
Right, I think that's a smart thing to step back and just come back to it.
Okay, all right, so we'll
If
table this.
everybody agreeable to that.
Yeah, we could do that, or just one other thought, keep Rossi, keep Delta, and the 13,085, that would be comprised of Manafort, Rhode Island welding. We won't proceed with those scopes of work. We could keep that in here, keep the number whole, treat that as an allowance, and then we can come back and reconcile that, once we figure out exactly, what additional demo or whatever it needs to be to access that pit through the elevator.
That way too.
So Rossi and Delta scope doesn't change.
Correct.
Well, would it really change whether it goes in the pit or whether it goes in the existing elevator shaft or something?
All right, so we better off. Okay, if we approve everything but the Manafort Rhode Island welding piece, and then whatever extra cost, we could do that as an emergency thing, because this has already been, will have already been approved, so complete this. All right, we can do that. Okay,
Got it, agree with nothing.
no,
I don't see why not just wait, why?
okay,
Stand.
Yeah,
You're still thinking you're just legitimately just approving this cost based on something you don't know when they've already been guaranteed a price of whatever.
Well, it certainly would be more than what the existing quote is now.
so the only various,
The presumption is it's not gonna cost $13,000 to
Because there's gonna be more
modify
piping,
the cab or
more electrical work, more piping, you move location. I'll change orders work, they want every penny for stuff.
I'm gonna make a motion to table this. Yeah. Let's just table, it, right? Do what we talked about before, get the whole enchilada done. If we need to do an emergency approval, we can do an emergency approval.
Okay.
So then we'll have the full picture, right? This is 31. If it comes in at 29, nice. If it comes in at 33, right? But the point is we want to pump wherever the lowest point is. Right. Okay. All right. So we're gonna table this. Any no objection to table this? Okay. All right. That was tabled. How you holding up, Amy?
Doing all right, thanks.
All right, next is Tollgate PCO 950-300 for $13,206. Mr. Bates?
This is CTC building floor room. It's the automotive flooring system. It's changed to, roll-on epoxy as opposed to a trowel, application. Some credit for the product, $5,500, but then we added as part of this PCO, a vapor barrier in the bathrooms and, tile, mastic bathrooms. So the net is the 13,206.
All right, any questions?
Is this owner requested change?
This came, Steve, you're gonna have to help me here, but, the original design docs had the trowel applied. You realized that you wanted to switch the epoxy, which is the right application. That's the credit, so that's good. You'll have to remind me what the vapor barrier is, with rodents.
When, the contractor went in and did, moisture testing in the toilet rooms.
Yeah.
They found that the moisture level was too high, so they couldn't put the epoxy over the existing floor. They had to take the tile out, put a moisture mitigation layer down, and then put the new flooring on top of that. It's all based on the relative humidity readings that they were getting in the slabs.
Yeah.
So that's what caused the moisture mitigation, but we did save money in the automotive space because we put a less expensive flooring system in. We didn't really need the trowel-on system,
Right.
so we put an epoxy paint system in instead.
Still a net add of 13,000.
So net add because of the moisture mitigation,
Right.
unfortunately, yeah. They wouldn't put the floor down
Right.
because you wouldn't get a warranty because the moisture was too high.
No, I agree. All right, make a motion to approve
All right.
PCO 950-300.
Motion to approve made by Mr. Lucy, seconded by Ms. Diaz and Mr. Kane, all in favor?
Aye.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, any, dehumidification process in that area to, what's on dehumidification?
It's actually moisture in the slab coming up under the floor.
Yeah.
How is it? Humidity, that's fine.
The air?
Yeah.
Well, that's separate. That's a separate system. That's the air. We're talking about moisture in the concrete slab that's getting absorbed from underneath. So there's really nothing you can do about it except put a moisture mitigation layer on top of it to prevent the moisture from coming up to the slab.
They're taking up the old tile.
They're taking up the old tile.
All right, so it's moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, next, Colgate PCO 950-360, $14,040. Mr. Bates.
Yeah. This was prompted by the need to install the new hot box down by Shapiro Way in the street. We're gonna rip up that area of asphalt, and in doing so, we're gonna really make everything around it crumble. Recommendation that we all discussed and agreed, right, is to address the greater area of that drive aisle as opposed to just doing that one location that we originally budgeted for. So 510 square yards in mill intact, 55 tons of overlay. So we looked at the unit rates and the quantities. They looked appropriate. We all agree it's the right thing to do to cover up a wider area of the asphalt just for the betterment of the street.
If you look at that end of the property.
Yeah.
You come up off of Tollgate Road onto the property, that whole road deck is a mess. But, you know, it is the right thing to do.
Okay, great. Any questions for Dinio or left field? All right, hearing none, looking for a motion to approve PCO 950-300. Moved by Mr. Holmes, seconded by Ms. Calori and Ms. Diaz. All in favor? Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Okay, next, Saab Architecture, CDS. $12,500.
So last month, we talked about the design ad service to Secoshio to take the time signs out, the drawings, right? This is the Pilgrim equivalent for that, right? It's the same IT consultant that's driving this change. It's a direct cost to them to $12,500. You waived your right to overhead profit. Thank you for that. So that's what this is. We agreed last month there
entitled to the money for the extra effort, so we're recommending.
Okay, questions for left field on this? And just refresh my memory. I know what we talked about last time. So this ends up having the same equipment in both schools?
Yeah, it does a lot of things. It creates parity across the schools from a technology standpoint. And what's really driving it is that based on the numbers we were given by Rossi, we think we can save over $500,000 in tech costs. So we're paying a little bit in design, they save, and that substantial.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, any questions? All right, hearing, I'm looking for a motion to approve some, who did that? You, Mr. McCaffrey?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Lucy. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Okay, next, item K, Secoshing and Associates, Tollgate PCO 7 with $48,200. What is this? Okay.
So I'll kick it off with Steve. I think you probably know the history better than I do, but there was some, I guess, call it last minute requests from one of the instructors at the Marine Trades classroom to do some additional work. Pressed airlines, some CMU walls on which they could mount exhaust snorkels. There's some changes to the locker rooms. Again, these are all requests, I think, prompted by his review of the drawings, and then prompted him to have some more asks, right? So we had met about this with the district, with the superintendent. There was an agreement that we wanted to forward and make this instructor whole as EC. So this is the design cost to do all that work. The civil, there's MEP, the structural, there's architectural. That accounts for the total. It is going to result in a change in hard costs. Bullet for that is forthcoming. We'll probably get that in a week or so. So
this is for Marine Trades. This is the one that's moving into the steel building, the standalone steel building, right? So I think you guys can speak to it better. Mr. Bianco was pretty vocal in what he felt the program needed.
Yeah, he was pretty, I know the concrete block for sure was one of the issues. I know there was discrepancy on what he felt was promised throughout the design process and then taken away. I don't know if that's the case or not. I mean, he was pretty much set on the fact that concrete block was always kind of the industry standard, the safest bet. Whether that's true or not, I'm not sure. I know a lot of the other things are based upon input from electric code as well. Comes in and takes a look at where there's placement, things. So
I think this all results in a better program. Right? Better home for the program. So, okay. Any questions for left field or Secoshing or anyone on this?
Do we have any idea of what those hard costs are gonna be that you would just mention? This is just design.
in making up a number. I mean, we haven't seen the design drawings yet. We haven't approved the design, so.
I think he was upset initially because there were mock-ups on architectural drawings. And when they came through with where certain fees were, and, this is not, when Steve was around, this isn't what we originally talked about.
Well, I think.
I remember doing the mock-ups.
Yeah,
but
we met with him several times. Steve Gottberg basically explained that we couldn't afford to do the CMU walls. You're gonna get regular booths like other places have. The lockers are supposed to go in the hallway. We're putting all new lockers in the CTC hallway. But now he wants his lockers in his room, so now we're building a locker area for him with walls and a dressing room and everything inside his space. He claims he never saw the final drawing that we submitted. And now he wants to make all these changes. And we were basically directed to make the changes for him. He wants a bigger build yard on the outside of the building, where he was originally told he can't have that because it's into the ledge. Couldn't afford to, take out more ledge to give him a bigger build area, because I guess they didn't want to see all the boat parts and everything that he has in the yard right now, like he has in an existing building. But I guess that's all off the table now. We're putting it all back in. So that's what happened. He claims he never saw the drawing, the final drawing, but we did meet with him several times.
I
And
remember,
we
'cause I was
went,
in- I was
yeah,
a part of some
we
of
were in
those
those meetings. And we met with him, we all have all our notes about, you know, where he wanted things, and now it's kind of flipped upside down, so that's what caused all these changes.
Well, we're not gonna be blasting ledge we're not, are we blasting ledge to make that area bigger?
Yeah.
I mean, I think there's
They
a
were
little bit.
blasting down there.
The area,
Yeah,
we've
they
already
blasted
blasted,
yesterday, blasted
but
today.
the area's getting a little bigger outside.
All right,
So this is potentially be a substantial change. Then.
but that's, I mean, I have to defer.
Yeah, so it's-
Right. And the CT budget is. How does, you need to know how this, obviously how it hits the whole budget, but how it hits the CT budget too, right? Because I mean, the CT budget was part of the high school project, but it was.
It's all bought
Well,
out.
the CTC building separate from this. So this building originally was the main building.
Mhm.
So.
Okay.
It wasn't with the CTC
Yeah.
original budget.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what I don't know, Mr. Kane, is, you know, what some of these things, electric boat asks. Right, so I don't know what. You know,
Steve brought up a good point, though. This building, I mean, the space is supposed to be in the building. Right? It's a cost savings measure. We put it out, made this medium, this metal building. This all happened last year or so, right? So there was some design shifting that's going on. And does that account for how the instructor maybe misinterpreted the drawings based on what he saw first, initially, and based on what he saw more recently? I think it could be, right?
Well, when it was a metal building.
When it's metal
Yeah.
building.
Yeah. I mean, we had,
yeah, so I mean, ultimately, I mean, it's, if administration supports this, because it's their program, right? If they support this, then, I'd be fine with it. And if you guys support these changes, I'm fine with it. So, you know, I do know how successful that program is. It's probably one of the most successful, if not the most successful, CT program we have. So, you know, if,
So Steve, are your consultants involved in this, or is this purely architectural?
no, we only have a small piece. It's everybody, electrical, mechanical, plumbing, structural, civil.
It's mostly everything.
This,
They're.
MEP is.
So we're
is
talking
probably
about
half of that number.
$300,000-$400,000. This doesn't sound.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's.
That's what
Probably
you're thinking.
Wise, yeah.
Already over.
That's what you think? Yeah, I mean, obviously, I can't hold you to it. You can't hold you to it.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah. But,
We gotta see the design first. We gotta price it.
Right.
But yeah,
So if we do nothing, the instructor is.
If they're gonna be running power sources to their anyway, that's a given. They're gonna be running airlines anyway, that's a given. It's a matter of the books, I would imagine the David expense, right?
well, it's a lot of factors.
And then the block,
Yeah, they-
lighting blockers anyway, when they're in a hallway or in a room, if they're up being in a room, an area where kids could change in private, because they're putting on welded gear, welded gloves, you know, that's better than being in the hallway, changing up and going the hallway, it makes sense. At the end of the day, a lot of this work we're doing anyway, it's just the price and see where it falls.
Yeah, I mean, some of those lockers, if that's where their equipment is too, I mean, that's
Yeah.
valuable equipment too. So,
And there was also the fact that they have, female
yeah. So
students,
Yeah.
so there has to be a separation,
Yeah.
the male and female, so there's a lot of stuff that pulled in.
Okay. All right. Any other questions for left field or, Sakosha? All right, here we go. Hearing none. I'll be looking for a motion to approve Colgate PCO number 7, $48,200. Moved by Mr. McCaffrey. Second? Seconded by Mr. Kane. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Get through the fun part of the meeting. All right. All right, next consent payment authorizations. Items AAA, A through E for I'm sorry, items 5A through E for AAA mobile warehousing totaling $579.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Lucy, seconded by Ms.
And
Fleur.
they're off.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Next, ABS Construction Elementary Bond, for bulk envelope, $15,865. Mr. Oliver, is this you?
Yes, it is. That's for the building envelope project.
Yeah, that's just the regular summer project.
Application.
All right, any questions for Mr. Oliver? All right, looking for motion to approve ADS for $15,865.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Lucy, seconded by Ms. Diaz, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Next, ADS, $195,259.20 for the Hoxie Mechanical Project. This is just what, for the first payment for the summer project? Okay. Any questions for Mr. Oliver? Okay, looking for motion to approve. ADS, moved by, Mr. Holmes, seconded by Ms. Diaz. Any further questions? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed, motion carried. Next, item H, Astro for $2,846, Oxy Mechanical, just for moving stuff.
Yeah, the packing material, yes.
Looking for motion to approve Astro for $2,846.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Lucy, second. I'll second. Any questions? All in favor? Aye. Opposed, motion carried. Next, items I and J, BR&A Consulting Engineers, totaling $19,762.50. Mr. Bates.
Yes, invoices for the month of May, all office work at this point, and submittal, shot drawn reviews, a couple of meetings. They have been on, they have been on site, but they'll show up in the next round of invoices for field inspections, but we recommend.
Okay. All right, looking for a motion to approve items I and J for BR&A Consulting. So moved by Mr. Kane, second by Ms. Diaz. Any further questions? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next, item K, Columbus Door, $7,650 for the summer 2026 envelope projects. Moved by Mr. Holmes, I'll second. This is Mr. Oliver. These are for doors in general for the project or a
This
specific
is-
one?
This is for, keys and,
Oh,
for like a cylinders and hardware.
yeah, all right, okay, I remember that.
Kevin, they have the removable cores? Is
Yes.
that- Okay, yeah, I know.
All right, so it's been moved and seconded already, right? Yes, okay. Any further questions for Mr. Oliver? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye, opposed, motion carries. Okay, item L, Dimeo Construction, application 23 for Pilgrim High School.
Yes, that puts them at 22% build for the project. And, note that this month, this June, July, and August, that we're projecting to be probably the biggest cash outflows, maybe even just in this year. So,
All right, so looking for motion to approve, application 23 for Pilgrim, $5,739,193.15. Moved by Mr. McCaffrey, seconded by Ms. Calori. Any questions?
Can I make a request? Can you please round to the nearest dollar?
Thank you.
You're going from 7 digits to 9, you're increasing the workload by 28%.
And all the words,
Round up for you.
You're fine,
So,
so.
like we're at the register. Okay. All right, so it was moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Next, item M, application 23 for Tollgate, $7,812,034.
35% build. Just a reminder that the final rec number is a result of a couple of weeks of review of progress in the field. We walk the site as a team. And make sure that the projections are accurate and adjusted accordingly.
Questions, Mr. Bates, on that at all? All right, looking for motion to approve application 23 for Tollgate. Moved by Mr. Holmes and seconded by Ms. Calori. All in favor? Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Next, item N, environmental consulting man ECM for $780. Looking for a motion to approve. Moved by Ms. Glory, seconded by Mr. Kane. This is standard stuff, right? Yeah, right, John?
Yeah,
Tested the foundation walls to see if there's any hazmat and roofing. And was some toolkit, there's not a tool. That's what this is for.
All right. Moved and seconded, all in favor? Aye, opposed, motion carries. Next, ECM invoice 11599 for $1,260 for high school. Mr. Bates.
For the asbestos and abatement plan, sent to Rhino, includes the application fee for abating an ACM water line at Dover.
I'm looking for a motion to approve ECM for $1,260. So moved by Mr. Lucy. Second? I'll second. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Next, ECM, $1,000 for Oxy Mechanical. We're looking for a motion to approve. Moved by Mr. Holmes. Second? Second by Mr. Lucy. Any questions for Mr. Oliver? Okay, hearing none. All in favor? Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Okay, next, FINA Inc., items Q, R, and S, totaling $60,317.01. This is for our construction testing agent, Mr. Bates.
Yep. First one's for the month of May. Masonry, light gauge, framing inspections, issue a weekly report. Are we taking these all at once? Or?
Yeah, we're gonna do it.
Second one's for the month of April for Pilgrim, that's concrete testing, field welding inspections. And then the last one is for the month of May, also for Pilgrim. So it's more concrete testing, more field welding inspections. They're also looking at the fire that's in place.
All right, any questions for Mr. Bates on that? Okay, hearing none, looking for a motion to approve items Q, R, and S.
So move.
Moved by Ms. Glory. Second? Second by Mr. McCaffrey. All in favor? Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Next, item T, GZA, $2,215.01. Mr. Bates.
Yeah, it's our geotech engineer. This is for both projects. It's for services through the end of May, totals to about 13.75 hours. It's mostly for on-site and field monitoring.
Looking for a motion to approve GZA.
So move.
Moved by Ms. Glory. Second? Seconded by Mr. Lucy. All in favor? Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Next item, left field, item U, $110,000, June 2026 OPM services. Moved by Mr. McCaffrey. Second? Seconded by Ms. Glory. Any questions for left field on that? All right, keep earning your keep. All right, all in favor? Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Okay, next item V, Rhode Island Energy, $33,361.49 for Hawks. Mr. Oliver.
yeah, this payment is for the transformer work that needs to be done for the HVAC system at Oxy. This is, the payment for Crown Energy side.
Can't avoid them, I guess.
Nope.
All right, so looking for a motion to approve item V. Moved by Mr. McCaffrey. Seconded by Ms. Diasky and Mr. Lucy. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Next, item W, Som Architecture, $105,937.50. May Design Services. Mr. Bates.
But the invoice for construction administration services, the thing.
Any questions for?
What percentage of the,
What percentage are they in, you know?
Second. We are at 72%.
What was that number, John? I'm sorry.
72% bill.
All right. Moved by Mr. McCaffrey. Second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Clean and Ms. Valori. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Next, item X, Kosher and Associates, Tollgate June 26 services, $130,473.75.
Same thing, monthly progress payment, construction admin, they're at 80%. Well, we'll mind that the bulk of their fees are design, not CA, so.
Moved by Mr. Holmes. Second? Seconded by Ms. Diaz. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. All right, so Kosher and Associates, we'll take them all at once. Items Y through CC totaling $8,805.30 for various summer envelope projects. Moved by Mr. McCaffrey. Second? Seconded by Mr. Kane. Any questions for Mr. Oliver on these? Okay, hearing none. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, next, sign, item DD, sign at $294 for promotion to approve. So moved. Moved by Mr. Luce. Second by Mr. Lord. Any questions for Mr. Oliver? Okay, hearing none. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item EE, tie and bonds, Pilgrim High School, $19,915.14.
Yeah, our environmental engineer services, done by, but end of April. They're reviewing submittals for clean import. They're on site for 2 days, witnessing soil removal. It's, some tabulation of groundwater analytical data. They took a test of the groundwater well that has the vinyl chloride in it. And let's see, what else have they done? A couple of meetings involved, or a couple of meetings included to look at phase 1 and phase 2 remedial efforts. All money earned, so we're recommending.
All right, looking for a motion to approve tie and bond. Moved by Mr. Kane, second. I'll second. Any questions for Mr. Bates? Hearing none. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next, item FF, True North Civil, Windman, Scott, Cedar Hill, and Greenwood upgrades, $13,722.75. Mr. Oliver.
This is for our, governor's commission disability work that we're doing over the summer. So first gets up there.
All right.
See the contractor?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
What's his total amount, Kevin, do you know?
I don't know off the top of my head.
That's
I
his
can get
first-
that.
that's
I
his
can
first
get
bill?
that for you.
Yeah, I don't remember what it was. It
Yeah.
was discussed in a meeting.
Yeah.
Have you dealt with them?
No.
No,
I don't
yeah, because they were new. They were, all right, looking for a motion to approve True North.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Lucy, second. Seconded by Ms. Diaz. Any further questions? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Last item, Vito's Express, item GG, $43,910, Tollgate High School, removing and storage. Kevin, what are you?
Yep.
So what's this for? All the,
This is for the CTC move. Yep. So that's,
moved by Mr. McCaffrey, seconded by Ms. Diaz. Any further questions?
I just have one comment to
Yep.
make. I just want to make sure everybody's aware that there will be a change order coming because there was some associated packing that needed to be done. That wasn't complete. So there will be a change order coming for packing that had to be done.
All right. So it's a moved and seconded. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. All right, we're on to new business, capital construction project update from Mr. Oliver.
Just, we were just starting all our summer projects. Everything's, relatively new right now, but, I'll have a better update for you next month.
Okay. So far, so good. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
everything's kicked off.
2 weeks
fine.
out, so,
Yep.
materials and
Yep.
lead times and all. Okay. All right, next is discussion high school project from left field, Mr. Bates.
I was gonna say that the CTC renovation's underway, but I think we've covered that. So I did want to make the committee aware that we had a security breach on Saturday evening, or what we think are shoots, as best as we can tell from the video footage we're seeing, on site, I don't know, it's around midnight.
12:31 Sunday morning.
They were able to get over the fence and make their way all the way up to the roof. So, we've been working with Mr. Jackson over here at the district, the police department's been, made aware. In fact, they were called seen by way of the security system, right? So they were there, but by the time the police got there, they had left. So our search continues. We've also, met with the principal to, review the camera footage with him. Suspect's still charged, but it's a serious issue. obviously for many reasons, right? Don't want anyone getting hurt first and foremost. And then, of course, liability issues that impact the project are tremendous, so we can't have it. So we'll continue to try to find out who it was, then we'll go from there.
John, do you want to share that footage with me too? Because my kids also go over to that side of the city.
Sure.
So I'm not saying I could identify them, but I'd rather take a look.
I think there might be a lawn sign in the neighborhood. Congratulations, you're a graduate of the matches.
You actually laugh, but we actually think you might have.
No, I'm not serious. I was with Danny yesterday, he on the safety team.
Right.
So,
But what's really concerning is, so the police, our security camera picks it up. They do a phone tree. They call me, they call Jason, they call Brent Maloney, then we immediately say, just call the police. 12:30 at night, there's nothing good happening. So the Warwick Police respond, they get there at 1 a.m. We can see them on the camera walking around. They do a good job. There's 2 Warwick Police that respond. They're walking around. I think they get on their loudspeaker and say, if you're here, show yourself. And, you need to vacate. Of course, no one comes out. They call the Rhode Island State Police. Rhode Island State Police came down with their drone team, flew the drone, see if they could get a heat signature of anyone, lying up on the roof or such. So Dan Giacomo City been working with us. He's been doing a deeper dive. The Pilgrim cameras, and actually the cameras at the City of Warwick, do a nicer job than our security cameras. Our security cameras pick up the motion, but they don't do a great job at facial recognition, as opposed to the Warwick school cameras do a much better job, especially if you have enough lighting. We have a fair amount of lighting on the side of Pilgrim. So Dan Giacomo was able to zoom in and pick up some of these kids. I call them kids, they could be young adults. They're not 14 or 15-year-old kids. They could be 17 or 18-year-old kids. And you can see some of their facial features. And we then yesterday, and what Dan also found out, you can see these kids walking around a couple different times, and he also, I guess, has video of them on the roof at Holloman. So these kids are up to, they're playing with fire. I mean, we've got kids who probably are living in the neighborhoods. We don't see any car associated with this. Walking around here and climbing roofs. It's dangerous enough to climb the roof at Holloman. You climb the roof at Pilgrim, there's openings in that roof. They climbed a ladder that's, approximately 28 feet in the air to gain access to a lower roof, and they kept climbing up to higher roofs. So this is a major concern. There's a major potential liability here for all of us. So just, want to take this threat very seriously. Dan Giacomo's been awesome. He's followed up with the police. We got a post-incident review. Danny's continuing to scour the film to see if we can, identify these kids. Toby, Principal Pilgrim, is looking at the footage, see if he recognizes these kids. But it's a big issue. It's a big concern.
Is there a security detail at each building, like for overnight?
No, that's a recommendation that, that certainly the city can do if they want.
If we got footage, can we release that footage? If we got good camera footage of people, could we release that even though they're minors?
I
Not sure, I don't know how that works.
There's an open investigation, we release it and provide it to the detectives.
Yeah, all right. Well, I mean, Danny, Mr. Majaka will know how to handle that. You guys know how to
So
handle that.
Mr. Giacomo spoke to that a little bit yesterday, and, with me, I think just a kind of conversation, he said, there's 2 trains of thought. There's one that maybe that identifies, people, and they smarten up and don't do it again. The other train of thought is that emboldens other kids, like, hey, this looks like a
Yeah,
fun thing to
let's
do.
try it.
Hey,
Yeah,
these guys did it last Saturday, let's do it this Saturday night.
Something like that, it would be charged if we identify the survey.
Oh, gotcha.
So that would set the tone then with else then.
Yeah.
Word will spread quickly around the 18 to 17, 18-year-old community. And it's something foolish to happen.
Yeah, I mean, at Pilgrim, it's very concerning because, we're starting all this deep utility work, what we call utility alley. So someone's walking this site in another week or two, we're gonna have trenches. I mean, we're gonna have open excavations. It's gonna be a very dangerous site for the next couple of months while we're continuing to put all this facility work in place. And we have openings on, we're pouring slabs on the deck, we're pouring, slabs up on the roof, putting roof materials in. It's just, it's a recipe for disaster. We don't get a hold of this.
What else you have, Mr. Bates?
Well, Mark mentioned utility work, so we've had Pilgrim Parkway shut down in the last week and a half, to do underground work in the street. And part of what we're doing is, neighborhood outreach, I guess. We met with a couple yesterday that was concerned about the activities on site, and so far it's going well. So, we'll continue to do that. We're sensitive to the fact that there are some inconveniences that are having to live with. That's about it. I was gonna just mention that if we included all the changes, that were on the agenda for today, the remaining uncommitted contingency is $8.15 million. That's important to just note at every meeting. That we're tracking it pretty closely, so.
Yeah, no, that monthly update on uncommitted.
Unencumbered
Yes.
contingency.
Anything else for Mr. Bates on anything?
So I've only been here for like 3 meetings, but on every change order, there's, SDI, general liability insurance, all these items, right? Are you guys tracking to make sure that the contractor, the subcontractors, the insurance, the bonds are actually getting updated? And you're like getting either a documentation, like for the additional premium or the rate implied, if it's a ADA, if it's a building permit or an ADA fee, is that you getting documentation that it's an actual either change to a permit or
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Kravitz never asked that question. So welcome. All right, there's public comment, there's one here. Next meeting is Wednesday, August 5th. If anybody has a request for future consideration, just reach out to myself, Amy, Mr. Oliver. No other business before this committee. Looking for motion to adjourn. Moved by Mr. Lucy, second by Ms. Diaz. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. We're adjourned at 9:07 a.m.
He,